everybody and welcome back to another video by Funland Tutorials. Today's topic is an economics topic which discusses about the inverse price rule in price discrimination. It's just a simple topic. I assume that we know the derivation for the principle that we'll be discussing today. Simply we'll be considering the intuitive explanation, which I feel a lot of us are not fully aware of the implications of the condition. So essentially what the inverse price rule in price discrimination says is that, let's say you have two consumer groups. So you have one consumer group and you have another consumer group, and somehow you are well aware of the fact that the elasticity of this group is E1 and the elasticity of this group, by elasticity I mean elasticity of demand. So I am a monopolist and somehow I am aware of the fact that the elasticity of demand, that is the price elasticity, is E1 in this group and E2 in this group, and I would like to quote unquote exploit them, not exactly exploit because it's profit maximization in the moral sense, but so as to bring out the maximum possible revenue from these two groups, and I would like to practice price discrimination. So essentially I would not be charging same price for both of these groups. I will be charging some amount of price for this group and I will be charging some amount of price for this group. And the principle essentially says that as we know, the first principle is that MR1 is equal to MR2, that is the marginal revenue from the two groups should be the same, because otherwise if you have more revenue coming from this group, of course you will be selling more, right? If you have more revenue from one particular group, you will be selling more, and that will continue till the revenue across the two groups is equalized. So this is of course a very important and a necessary condition for practicing price discrimination. Now we know that the value of MR is equal to P1 times 1 by 1 minus epsilon, and here it's 1 by epsilon. We are taking modulus because the demand function is negative, so we are taking modulus, and MR2 can be written as P2, so MR2 is equal to P2 into 1 minus 1 by modulus of epsilon 2, modulus of epsilon 2. We have these two functions, and then we find out that P1 is greater than equal to less than P2 according as epsilon 1 modulus, of course, modulus epsilon 1 is less than, equal to or greater than epsilon 2. So essentially what it says is, the more the amount of elasticity of demand in a particular group, the lesser you will charge them, and the lesser the amount of elasticity of a particular group, the more you will charge them, right? This is essentially the inverse price rule, because it's the inverse. Wherever you have a higher elasticity, you charge them lower price, and whenever you have a lower elasticity, you charge them a higher price. Now what is the intuition? Think of it this way. What do I essentially mean by elasticity of demand? When I say that the consumer has this amount of elasticity for demand, I say that the consumer is willing to change his or her demand based on the changes in price, right? That is how I had defined elasticity. So if an individual has a higher elasticity of demand, that happens for luxury goods, it means that for a small amount of change in price, I am willing to make large changes in my demand. So for luxury goods, for example, if the price of gold goes up by a little bit, I will probably drastically reduce my consumption of gold because it is a luxury good. I do not need it, right? But if the price of gold goes down by a small quantity, I might start buying a lot of gold because it's a good investment. That is a different reason. But I would change my demand a lot based on small changes in prices. So I say that that is a high amount of elasticity of demand. On the other hand, low elasticity of demand is usually found in case of necessities. So for example, if I am suffering from high blood pressure and if I see that the price of my medicine goes down, I won't start buying it more often and consume it at a higher quantity, right? It's a necessary good. Why will I start increasing my consumption of medicine? Similarly, if I see that the price of a medicine goes up, I won't start decreasing my consumption. So for necessary goods, if price changes by a small amount, demand does not change, which is why I say that the elasticity is less. But for a necessary good, if price changes by a small amount, demand changes by a great amount. So that is essentially what I talk of elasticity. Now, if I have, say this is a higher amount of elasticity and this is a lower amount of elasticity. Now, if I have a higher amount of elasticity, it means these groups are able to change their demand based on change in prices. So, if I charge them a very high price, they will very likely reduce their quantity by a large amount, which means my total revenue will fall. On the other hand, these people somehow probably think that the good is a necessity for them. They are not able to change their quantity by a lot if I change my price, because they have a lower amount of elasticity. So even if I charge them a higher price, even if it is bad for them, even if they think that they are increasing their expenditure, they will not be able to reduce their demand to the extent that my total revenue will fall. These people are able to do that because they have a higher elasticity. They can change their quantity demanded. These people are not able to do that because they have a lower elasticity. They cannot change the quantity demanded. So I will obviously charge a price based on where I can get higher total revenue. If I increase my price here, my total revenue will fall. But if I increase my price here, total revenue will not fall. So I will not increase my price here. I'll keep my price here as low as possible. And I'll keep my price here as high as possible. So you see there is a negative relation. The higher the amount of elasticity, the lower I charge them a price. Because if I charge them a higher price, they will not stay my consumer. They will not remain as my consumer. They will go away somewhere else. And if I have a group of consumers which have a lower elasticity of demand, they think that my product isn't necessary to them. They like my product. I will charge them a higher price. So that is why this is called the inverse price rule. A lot of us, we know that, okay, fine, price is high, which means elasticity is low. But what is the intuition behind them? Why do I need to charge them a higher price if they have a lower elasticity and vice versa? Economics is an intuitive subject. It deals with human beings and how we behave. So all of the concepts that we have in economics have an intuitive explanation. And that was the objective of today's video. I hope you find this video helpful and will be helpful in this examination. So if you found this video to be useful, which I really hope you did, please like this video and consider subscribing to my channel. You can also share these videos with your friends or students or anybody you find might get help from these videos. Comment if you have any doubts or recommendations for videos. Follow me on my Instagram account, which I'll be linking down in the description box below. Till then, stay blessed, stay happy, and happy learning.